Hi everyone! Welcome to week 3 of Tasty Tuesday here on Sun Devil Fitness's YouTube channel. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Jennifer.
And today we're gonna cook some enchilada spaghetti squash. So let's start the video. This is what you'll need. 2 small spaghetti squashes. Today we only have 1.
Half of an onion.
1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
3 cloves of garlic.
1 cup of fresh corn. You could do canned or frozen.
1 red bell pepper.
1.5 cups of cooked black beans. Those could also be canned.
A tablespoon of chili powder.
1 tablespoon of cumin.
1 tablespoon of coriander.
1 tablespoon of fresh chopped jalapeno.
1 teaspoon of kosher salt.
1/2 cup of enchilada sauce, or you can substitute as tomato sauce.
1/4 cup chopped cilantro plus more for garnish.
1/4 a cup of shredded cheddar or Mexican cheese if you desire.
Okay, and you can also put some avocado, hot sauce, or sour cream on top.
You'll also need 1 pot, a cooking sheet, and some measuring cups and spoons.
A knife, a cutting board, and something to stir with. Okay, so we're going to start by cutting open the spaghetti squash. I decided to cut it in halves. Vertical wise? No, horizontal wise. So what we're going to do for that is just slowly, and be careful with your fingers when you do this, guys. I just slowly put my knife in and kind of get the knife all the way down. And just work your way down with it. Never rush it, otherwise you will cut off your finger. No one needs that. And also a fun fact for squash or melons is if you want to wash the outside, instead of scrubbing it, you can actually soak it in just like a couple of tablespoons of vinegar and water in your sink, and it will kill any bacteria on the outside. So sometimes there can be bacteria on the outside of squashes and melons, especially like cantaloupe where it's a porous rind. And cutting into that can get into the food you're eating and give foodborne illness, but with this we're cooking it, so it's very unlikely. And then, so when I'm baking it, it'll be this side down, but when I'm eating what we're making, it'll be this side up. So because of that, I'm going to cut this end so it can stand like a little bowl. And you're just going to slowly cut along. Spaghetti squashes are a little bit harder than your average squash, so just be careful, watch your hands. Oh, and make sure you preheat your oven before you do this, so you don't have to wait, it's just quicker. You preheat the oven to 425. Oh, hallelujah. Okay, now that I've cut the bottom off, so it will create a bowl once it's done cooking, I'm going to take a spoon, and you're just going to spoon out the insides where you see there's seeds in there. And it's kind of like carving a pumpkin when you're getting all of the pulp out. Exact same thing. And I like to have a trash can nearby to make this a little bit easier and less mess. Okay. And we're going to put this one face down as well. All right. Both face down on the pan, and it'll be baked at 425 for 40 minutes. All right, so next we are going to cut about 1/2 of an onion. I'm going to peel the onion. An easy way of doing that is cutting the top of the onion off and just pulling back a bit, and you'll get some of the onion exposed. I'm just going to peel off the outer layer. So it'll look like this. And then I'm just going to cut a few slices right into the onion, till about halfway down the onion. And an easy way to dice an onion is to cut little 1/2 to 1/4 inch slices across the onion, and then turn it around and just do perpendicular slices into the onion, the same exact size. Turned my pan on to about medium heat. Because we're using olive oil and olive oil has a lower smoking point, I only do medium because I don't want the olive oil to burn. We're going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, just enough to coat the pan. And I'm going to throw my onion in. I'm going to simmer it for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, just till it starts getting a bit see-through. And while I'm doing that, I'll start cutting up my garlic. An easy way to peel the garlic cloves: place them on your cutting board, put your knife flat down on the garlic, and with the palm of your hand, push down on it, and it actually crushes your garlic and makes it really easy to get the peel off. And then I'm going to cut the brown part off of the garlic. It's going to be the rind at the bottom. And now that the onion has started simmering, my sous chef Kayla is going to come in to help me stir.
Hello.
I cut horizontal slices in all of my garlic, and then I anchor my knife down at the tip with one hand and just slide it through, going back and forth across the pile until I find that it's chopped down small enough. And now that the onions are starting to look a bit see-through, I'm going to put the garlic in. Okay, I'm going to simmer that for another 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to cut up the bell pepper next. I just cut it right in half, and you remove the tip and pull out the seeds and any of the white foamy part that you see here. And I give it a little shake to get extra seeds out. And then the easiest way to cut a bell pepper is you cut it from the inside, not the outside. And the knife goes in really easily. So I cut long strips, and then I bundle them up and cut perpendicularly to the original cuts. And it makes a nice red bell pepper dice. Alright. Bell peppers also shrink as you cook them, so I like them to be a little bit larger in size. About 3/4 inch size pieces. And we're going to add this to the mixture. And last but not least, the jalapeno. So you might have noticed that I put gloves on. It was for this. Jalapeno seeds and jalapenos in general, they have juice that has oil in it. And if you get it on your skin and especially touch your face, it'll burn for hours afterward. So I like to wear gloves, and if you don't have that, you can just put like the produce bag around your hands and cut with that. And it'll protect you from getting in your eyes or your nose later on, which is not a good time. Alright, so I cut the tip off first. And discard that. And then I just cut lengthwise down. And then lengthwise again. I slide my knife through the jalapeno and get off the inside part. And then I cut the slices again. So in the end, I'll have 8 slices for each jalapeno. And you cut it lengthwise down. And then again, you bunch it up and just cross your cuts that you already made. And for jalapeno, I make a smaller dice. So about 1 centimeter or 2. Because if you take one big bite of a jalapeno, you might need a lot of water after. All right, and we add that in there. And then we're gonna let that all simmer for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna add the entire can of sauce. It's about 2 cups. I'm gonna add my black beans, and I've drained them. And also, if you rinse them in water as you're draining them, it actually will help them not cause as much flatulence and bloating. Black beans are actually known to cause the least of that as well. Okay. Then I'm gonna add my spices. Calls for a tablespoon of cumin. You can measure these out. I don't, because I just know what it looks like in the palm of my hand. But that's about a tablespoon of cumin. A tablespoon of chili powder. I'm actually using a chipotle chili powder, and it tends to be a little spicier, so I think I'm going to use about a half tablespoon.
Who's not good with spice? Me.
Yeah, Kayla doesn't like things as spicy. So, if you are cooking for yourself or someone else that doesn't do as well with spicy foods, chili powder is definitely going to carry some heat, especially depending on what kind you use. And the recipe also calls for coriander. Coriander is kind of expensive, and it's actually just ground up dried cilantro seeds. But a really good alternative for that, and something that people do tend to have in their kitchen more, is either oregano or just like an Italian blend. And so we're going to put that in as well. And again, it calls for a tablespoon. So it's about a tablespoon. And we are going to let that come up to a simmer. So I'm going to heat it up to about medium high until you start to see a rolling boil. Alright. So I'm going to turn off the heat. It's been simmering for about 5 to 10 minutes. The bell peppers are now completely soft. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt in. And it does seem like a lot of salt, but because we didn't put any salt on the spaghetti squash, this actually helps to flavor up the spaghetti squash too. All right, now I'm going to chop up my cilantro. Some people pull the individual leaves off, and I don't have patience for that. I just kind of cut off the stems as best I can. It's about a third of the way from the bottom. And then I kind of just roll this around into a little ball. And slowly make tiny little cuts down the line, moving my fingers as I go in a claw-like motion, in a claw-like position. I'm going to anchor my knife just like the garlic and just do a few chops through to get it nice and thin. And I'm going to dump that in. So you always want to add fresh herbs after the heat is off because the leaves can burn pretty easy. And I'm going to incorporate that in. And let it sit while I fluff up my spaghetti squash. To fluff up the spaghetti squash, I'm just going to kind of use the fork in little twisting motions and try and pull it slowly away from the outer peel. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and this is really fast. One of the great things about eating spaghetti squash instead of spaghetti is spaghetti squash has lots of antioxidants in it and other vitamins and minerals that you won't be able to get from regular pastas.
But we still do love pastas.
Yes.
Lots of yummy carbs to fuel our brain. But if you're having issues incorporating veggies into your diet, this might be a good alternative for you.
So we're going to put 1 spoon of the enchilada mixture in at a time, and I'm going to kind of incorporate it into the spaghetti squash. Go ahead, Kayla. Alright, so I'll just kind of try and get it in there, especially towards the bottom. Okay, let's do another one. Put it on top. Beautiful. And we're going to do that with the other one.
You put better ones on that one. Just needs to be saucy. The more sauce, the better. Who agrees with me? Put it in the comments below. More sauce, less sauce. Who will win? I think I have an idea.
I think more sauce is better.
Yeah. Just trying to hold back my saucing. Don't be limited, friends. Don't be limited on the amount of sauce that you put on your items. Spaghetti squash, regular noodles, tacos. Oh no! We've got a little mishap down here, it's fine. All that matters is that there's lots of sauce to eat. You can even add it as you go along. So.
Alright, last but not least, I'm going to top these with avocado slices. So what you need is cut an avocado, spoon, avocado, and knife. Alright, I start by cutting through the tip of the avocado and just rocking the knife back and forth across the cut and the seed. And if your knife wasn't terrible, you would be able to cut into the seed and pull it out. And you can take your hand and pull out the seed.
Oh man, no. Maybe I did overfill it. Oh. It's okay, it's messy. It's a messy dish. It's a really pretty avocado. I did a good job picking out these avocados. Everyone, thank you. Like this video for how pretty the avocado looks.
Right. All right, voila, it's done.